Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 229 of Tech It Out. Hope you're all doing great as we're a couple of weeks into 2022. I hope this year will be a great one for you. We have a fantastic show planned for you this hour. But before I tell you who's on the program today, if you're on social media, be sure to say hi, as I love hearing from Tech It Out listeners. I'll spell my name in a moment if you want to jot it down, but I'm on your social platform of choice: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. All right, my name is Mark Saltzman, and that's Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. I'm looking forward to chatting with you online, where I share a tech tip of the day. I link to TV interviews that I do. I was on GMA, Good Morning America, last week, for example. There are giveaways. I link to articles and blog posts and podcasts and a lot more. So I hope to see you on social media. Again, it's Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, on all the big social networks. All right, on today's show, we're going to get our game on with a new Facebook game tied to Pac-Man that you're going to want to hear about, as well as a fun mobile game called Pop-In, which is generating a lot of buzz. It fuses video chatting and casual gaming. And I'll be hosting a Pop-In event, by the way, this Wednesday, January 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll tell you more about that shortly. Also on Tech It Out, how to protect yourself from cyber threats in 2022 when I chat with Malwarebytes this hour. All of this and more on an all-new Tech It Out, powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible, which I'll tell you more about shortly, but let's officially kick off the show with our first interview. Calling all retro gamers and social media fans. Facebook and Genvid have unveiled the most social adaptation of Pac-Man yet, called Pac-Man Community. And so joining us to talk about the new game, how it works, and explain what that social part is all about, we've got with us Jacob Navoke. He's CEO of a company called Genvid. They've been on this program before. So good to chat with you again, Jacob.
Great to speak to you again, Mark.
Well, congratulations. Very exciting. I know you just launched the game Pac-Man Community. Before you talk to us about it, though, give us a bit of a Genvid 101. Tell us a bit about the company.
Sure. So we're about 6 years old. We create interactive streaming tools and services that are used by platforms like Facebook and many others. You also help publish and produce games. So we produced Rival Peak for Facebook earlier this year, which we were on your show talking about earlier. Yeah. It's an interactive reality show. And our latest project with Facebook is Pac-Man Community. We also have other things that we're going to be releasing as a publishing label in the near future. So we look forward to continued ongoing announcements.
Okay, great. So two huge brands are colliding, Pac-Man and Facebook. Talk to us about Pac-Man Community.
So Pac-Man Community is a brand new game. It's got a lot of really cool features. It works on every device that Facebook works on. So it works on iPhones, works on Android, works on your desktop. And it is an instant game, which means that it works instantly. You don't download or install anything. It also works inside of the Facebook app, so you don't actually have to leave or jump or set anything up through the App Store. The moment you click on Facebook Community inside of Facebook, it loads, and there you are. You're able to play. We have 3 different ways of playing. You can play, create, or watch. And you are able to, in real time, play with several others, up to 4 people in one room. In an endless mode, in real-time multiplayer, endless mode means that it will keep on going as you clear mazes. Some of these mazes created by us, some of these mazes created by the community. And we also have a lot of other amazing features here, including the ability to jump in and play with a person streaming the game live, as well as watch and cooperate and collaborate with millions of others in a stream, and finally create your own mazes. So in one pretty small package, we've got a tremendous amount of both game industry trends as well as new features that haven't been done in Pac-Man before.
All right, so at its core, it's the same rules as the original Pac-Man from the early 80s. You want to eat dots and eat those power pellets, which reverses the chase. Those ghosts then become eatable. So then the yellow Pac-Man protagonist goes and eats them temporarily, and you want to clear those mazes and move on. And that's the same idea, but you're not just talking about the original game, the authentic single-player game, but more importantly, perhaps, is up to 4 people can play at the same time on these huge maps, right?
Absolutely. So we've got real-time multiplayer, which means that you are collaborating with, but also competing against for points, other people. And these maps are brand new. Now, we have created some of them, as I mentioned before, but you, the players, can also go and build your own. You can build artistic masterpieces. You can build nefarious, very difficult to complete mazes. However you want to create your maze is up to you. We've got a very rich maze builder that is super mobile friendly. And we are expecting millions of mazes to be generated by the audience, allowing for anybody at home to try to challenge the rest of the Pac-Man community, hence the name.
Mm-hmm. One thing that really appealed to people in the early 80s when Pac-Man debuted was its simplicity, right? There's no buttons even in that game, just a 4-way joystick. How do you play Pac-Man Community?
Very similarly, you really just have to do up, down, left, and right. Now, you can do that on keyboard, or if you want to plug in a joystick into your desktop, can do the same there. But if you're on mobile, we've created multiple touch interfaces. So there is a swipeable joystick on the bottom right, and you also can just swipe anywhere on your phone, up, down, left, right, and Pac-Man will follow you. In addition, if you want to hold in a direction, he'll hold in the direction with you. So super easy to play, very, very touch-friendly. And also it works great on the go. So like I'm literally on a bus somewhere and I'm able to play over my LTE connection on my phone, and it's fantastic. It's instant and it's quick. We also set up servers in 8 different places around the world. So wherever you are in the US, in the West or East Coast, in Latin America or Asia, you're going to have a great connection to the game and be able to play it really fast.
As a Facebook instant game, is it true you can also play inside of a messenger conversation or through your newsfeed itself? Precisely.
So if you see the game inside the newsfeed, you just press the button and it loads immediately there. And if you're in Messenger, and that's also how those invite systems work. So if you're playing the game, you want to invite your friend, it's going to send them a Messenger notification. They press it and it opens up directly in Messenger.
Awesome. We're chatting with Jacob Navoke, CEO of Genvid. They are the folks behind Pac-Man Community, a new game for Facebook. It's an instant game. I talked about the simplicity of the game being one of the cornerstones of Pac-Man, but I think also the bragging rights. The leaderboard is so important for a game like this. How is that handled? So you could hold the high score for your country or even the world.
That's correct. So Facebook is one of the biggest platforms in the world today. They have 2 billion plus users. And so I have to imagine that we're going to have some of the most intense leaderboards you have ever seen in Pac-Man. Think of it as almost the world's biggest arcade cabinet. So you have monthly rankings for people who are playing our standard multiplayer mode, but you also have the entirety of classic Pac-Man available to you here with its own ranking system. So if you just want to challenge by yourself, single player, those original 255 levels of mazes and see where you stack rank against the rest of Facebook, you can. Coming in the future, you're also going to be able to see your score relative to your friends and to other playlists as we set it up.
And as you said earlier, Jacob, you can play against strangers, but you can also invite people to play as one of your 4 that you're playing with and against on a maze as well, if you just want to handpick who you're going to be spending some time with. How much does it cost to play? Most Facebook content is ad-driven, or Facebook is free itself, and I use air quotes because I know there's ads and all that that's paying all the engineers and all that. So how much does Pac-Man Community cost? And if it is free, how do you monetize it?
Pac-Man Community is completely free. It's brought to you by Facebook, so it's a Facebook exclusive. So that's all you need to do. It's like one of their TV shows. It's just available to you as a Facebook user.
Okay, got it. One day, maybe Pac-Man in the metaverse, perhaps?
So Facebook themselves have been referring to the framework that we're using here, Play, Watch, and Connect, as a bridge to the metaverse. And indeed, if you look at the trailer for the game that they put out there, a lot of the effects and a lot of the tools that we're working with connect to some of their larger metaverse ambitions.
Yeah.
Obviously, the metaverse is not here yet, but the more that you are interacting with virtual worlds like the ones that we are creating here in Pac-Man Community, the closer steps we are taking toward it.
Before I let you go, Jacob, with all the features of Pac-Man Community, what is your favorite? Is it the ability to create your own levels?
My favorite is actually the watch stream, which we didn't get too deep into, but we've got these AI Pac-Man and AI ghosts that are being generated in 3D and are streaming live. And you as the audience member can just tap to help Pac-Man or tap to help the ghosts. And the reason that I like this is I'm a little bit busy. I'm usually on calls most of the day. And I love the idea of having ambient content where I can just kind of help chat, watch it, and just leave it on in the background. These are the kind of things that, as somebody who doesn't have much time to do a lot of real-time play every day, I really appreciate being able to be part of these experiences without having to focus on them.
All right, awesome. And then to get going, you just go to Facebook, and then do you do a search for Pac-Man Community?
You can search for Pac-Man Community, or you can go to fb.com/Pac-Man Community, all one word.
fb.com/Pac-Man Community. Jacob, great to chat with you, and congrats on the launch of Facebook Community.
Thank you.
You're listening to Tech It Out, powered by ASUS. For those in search of incredible, ASUS had a fantastic showing at the 2022 Consumer Electronics Show last week. Versatility was really on display here with the ASUS ZenBook 17 Fold OLED. This is a 17.3-inch computer that's completely flexible. So it can be folded in half when, say, putting it away, or open full screen to use like a tablet with your fingertips, or with the Bluetooth keyboard, which is included, or bended slightly while held like a book. Very cool stuff. This is coming in 2022 from ASUS. Head over to asus.com/US/radio for more info. When we return on Tech It Out, how to protect yourself in 2022 from cyber threats, when we chat with Malwarebytes. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. Not a day goes by that we don't hear about yet another cyber attack, whether it's companies, big and small, who are the victims, or government organizations, or regular individuals. It seems these cyber criminals will stop at nothing to wreak havoc, and it's usually for financial gain, let's face it. To talk with us about protecting yourself in 2022, even if you're not so tech savvy, we're joined by David Reese. He's online privacy advocate at Malwarebytes. Good to chat with you, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mark. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, thanks. Now, before we talk about today's theme, which I believe it's about stalkerware, sounds ominous, tell us a bit about Malwarebytes, the company.
Yeah. So really simply, right, Malwarebytes is a cybersecurity or a cyber protection company. And what that means really basic is that we protect folks from cyber threats. The easy to understand version is we scan for viruses, right? Things that we all have a familiarity with, but a little more advanced. We also look out for behavior. We look for things that malware does. Malware comes in more forms than just a virus. And we look for ways that hackers try to get access into your computer or get access into like a business's network. Mm-hmm. And again, like you said at the top, just wreak havoc. We try and find it and we stop it.
Okay, great. And of course, malware is short for malicious software, which can come in various forms. So what would you say separates Malwarebytes from other cybersecurity solutions out there? Obviously, there are a few.
Yeah, one of the simplest things that I found is, honestly, it's just really easy to use. I think we've all been there where we're trying to find a solution to anything. And we're like, what do? We read all these reviews. Malwarebytes, from what I've used, I work here. It's simple. It's easy to understand. It tells you what they find. It tells you what they don't find. It's just constantly running in a good way.
Mm-hmm. I always say the best technology is invisible. You know, it does its thing, but you don't know. And you can go about your business and you don't notice any noticeable slowdowns, and you're not getting these annoying sort of reminders that you've got this thing protecting you, but it's secretly, it protects its users. Very cool. All right. So let's now chat about the rise of stalkerware. What is that exactly?
Yeah, stalkerware is a word that we use to describe malicious programs that can track your movements and your day-to-day life without your consent. So stalkerware is mainly a mobile issue. That means it's mainly a threat to cell phones, right? Mm-hmm. And with this type of program, a stalker can see where you are. They can read your text messages. They can use your camera and your microphone without your permission.
Wow.
They can record your phone calls and they can listen to them later. And they can also, of course, swipe all of your photos and videos. They can access them, again, all without your permission. It comes in many forms, but typically it's an app. It's an app that is not available on the Google Play Store or the App Store, but available directly from a website. Someone just downloads it from a website, and it is quite easy to install on a person's device. All they need is physical access to a device, and it can be installed in under 5 minutes, honestly.
All right. So it sounds creepy. Having someone access your camera and microphone and photos and all that. But what's the point of stalkerware? Are they going to then try to extort money from you, like ransomware, and say, hey, if you don't pay me, I'm going to share those inappropriate websites you've been visiting to everybody in your contacts? You know what I mean?
That's an excellent question. I'm so glad you asked it, because the sort of threat here, right, is we see it happening more in situations of domestic assault, domestic abuse, partners who are abusive of their survivors. And so it is a way to maintain control on another person's life. It's a way to find out something that someone shouldn't know and to use that information as power, right? To say, I know you were talking to so-and-so. I know you didn't visit your sister. You actually went to X location. I know you've been looking at these websites. Why are you looking at these websites? It is, again, very serious, and it is used. It has been recorded in cases, again, of domestic abuse.
Yeah, I can see that. And what groups are most vulnerable?
Yeah, so for stalkerware, we have seen, like I said, many recorded cases of this being used in cases of domestic abuse. We see it time and again, domestic abuse survivors telling us that they suspect this is on their devices, or we actually work with domestic abuse networks. So the National Network to End Domestic Violence, they have folks there who are well versed in this, and they understand this, and they say they get reports on this constantly, right?
And this is because, David, sorry to cut you off, this is because you need physical access to that phone. This isn't remotely installed. So that's where you're saying like a suspicious spouse is going to do this. And is there a way to, I know you can sideload a program or download a program onto an Android device that's not from the Google Play Store. You may have to enable something or disable something in your settings in order to do so. But isn't this harder on an iPhone?
It is harder on iPhone. I'm glad you pointed that out. The threat of stalkerware that we see most often is against Android devices. It is simply because of the way these devices are built and the operating systems behind them. When it comes to remote threats, we actually did a report on the demographics of cybercrime, where we asked 5,000 people, what have they been subjected to when simply browsing online, when simply using the internet. So this extends far beyond stalkerware. We're looking at things, has anyone lost money? Has anyone gotten a suspicious text message? Has anyone had their social media accounts hacked? And we found broadly here that women felt the least safe and the least private online. And that is because they experienced cybercrime at a different level. 46% of women had their social media accounts hacked compared to 37% of men. That's a pretty large difference right there. And we also found that Black individuals, indigenous populations, and people of color also reported feeling less safe online. And they also experienced different types of cybercrime. So having their identity stolen, we saw a higher percentage for them than their counterparts. That is some of the stuff we found in the Demographics of Cybercrime report.
We're going to continue chatting with Malwarebytes when we return on Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We are chatting with David Rees, by the way, online privacy advocate at Malwarebytes. Could we read this report on stalkerware that you're talking about?
So yeah, the report that we had on the demographics of cybercrime, that covers more than stalkerware. And yes, absolutely, you can find that on Malwarebytes.com's website. It is in our resources page at the top of the header. You can find it there, or of course, as I think most everyone will find something these days. And even though I work at Malwarebytes, this is how I find my own stuff. Just type it into Google, demographics of cybercrime, Malwarebytes. Yeah, you're good to go.
All right, thanks. So what else could our listeners do to better protect themselves from stalkerware? I mean, is there a way to see if it's on your device?
Absolutely. So to find out if it is on your device, you can absolutely download Malwarebytes for free on the Android store, on the Google Play Store. And we do scan and we find stalkerware type applications. We find anything that is trying to access something that it shouldn't, right? So we are looking for more than just these types of applications. We're looking for any type of cyber threat, but absolutely, we do find these. You can also download any cybersecurity tool within the Coalition Against Stalkerware. The Coalition Against Stalkerware is exactly like it sounds. It's a group of cybersecurity vendors and also nonprofits and digital rights activists. And they are all working together to limit the threat of stalkerware, to increase awareness of stalkerware, and to help folks protect themselves. And exactly on that note, right, how do you protect yourself? Really simply, look, use a passcode. Use a passcode on your cell phone and make it required for every unlock. Like I said at the top here, so much of this is done with physical access to a device. If you have a passcode that you do not share, that is already such a strong protection, such a strong wall against getting these types of applications side-loaded onto your device.
Yeah, great advice. I like that tip. Passcodes and passwords are like underwear. Don't leave them lying around, but don't share them with anybody and change them often.
I had never heard it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, let's talk a bit about cyber-related New Year's resolutions. January, of course, is a great month for that. So what positive 2022 habits can we adopt to fight back against cybercrime? You already talked about making sure that your device has a passcode or even biometrics, using a part of your body to identify you to unlock the phone, like your face or your fingerprint. What else could we do? I'm assuming software like Malwarebytes would help too.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's, the first and topmost line always is download an antivirus tool, download and scan your computer against threats. It really does help. It really is important. And I have a kind of a different one here to suggest. If you have been the victim of cybercrime, if you have had suspicious cyber activity brought against you, if you've lost money, please talk about it. It may feel embarrassing, but this is something that affects so many people today. I do think this is the kind of thing where you can find more impact in a one-to-one relationship. And so if you share your story with someone, that might be all they need to take their cybersecurity a little more seriously and to avoid a similar attack. Again, sharing these stories is really powerful stuff. It really opens it up to show that we have nothing to be embarrassed about if we've been victims of cybercrime. And you may help someone understand what is at stake here. Yeah, that's a great point. Whether you share it anecdotally with friends and family, including those who in your family may not be as tech savvy. I don't want to generalize, but sometimes it's the older population, just to remind them about phishing scams and other things that they should be aware of. Or you share this socially with your community on platforms like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or what have you. A great idea to do that as well. I'll also add, if I may, David, to your thoughts on antiviruses. Don't let it lapse after a year. Most of these are an annual subscription, and sometimes we get complacent, we get lazy, and we don't renew it formally. You may lose some protection against the latest threats. So just put a little note in your calendar. You'll probably get a reminder from that company as well, but to make sure that you renew it when it's time. All right, David. So with that in mind, how much does Malwarebytes cost to start? I know you said there's a free option for your mobile device, but for computers, is there a subscription fee? Yeah, so it comes in two really basic models here. To simply scan and remove malware. So to remove something from your device that has caused trouble, and that could be your phone, that could be your laptop, your desktop. That is free. Like, we just offer that for free. You can go to malwarebytes.com and you can download it, and it works. And I know that's not a thing we do anymore, is offer things for free, but it legitimately works. We're not pulling a fast one on anyone. We find something on your device, if it is there, and we get rid of it. That said, you can also pay for a more premium version. And what that does is it gives you real-time protection. So if something lands on your computer, before it even has a chance to spread, before it has a chance to even do its dirty work, we remove it, we detect it, and we remove it, again, before an infection takes root. And that's pretty powerful stuff. And pricing is, variable in terms of, do you want one device? Do you want a family bundle? It's going to be about $80 a year. That's for 5 devices. So it's not just one person, one device, right? You can protect your whole family for, again, $80 a year.
Okay. And then malwarebytes.com is the best place to learn more?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. David Reese, that's RUIZ, online privacy advocate at Malwarebytes. Great to chat with you. Wishing you a happy and healthy and cyber safe 2022. All the best. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Mark, and wishing the same to you.
Hey, don't forget, coming up on Tech It Out, we're going to chat about Pop-In, which is a very popular game that you can play on your iPhone or your iPad. It combines casual gaming, if you will, with video chatting at the same time. So it's social, it's entertaining. And hey, I'm going to be hosting Pop-In on Wednesday, January the 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific, having a lot of fun, taking your questions about tech or what it's like to be a tech reviewer. There's going to be some prizes and all that. So be sure to download Pop-In. Just go to the App Store and type pop.in to download the game, and you'll have a lot of fun, no doubt. Again, I'm hosting on Wednesday, the 19th of January. Hey, we just spoke with Malwarebytes, so that reminds me to remind you to properly back up your important information on a regular basis. I recently had a scare where I thought the files were gone from an external drive, but thankfully I used Western Digital drives. Everything was completely fine. It was my computer that was messed up, but it didn't read the external drive. But just a reminder to properly back up your important files on a regular basis. Even make a duplicate of those extra files just in case. Put one of them in a safe place, a safety deposit box, or leave it with a trusted relative or what have you. And then one connected to your computer for regular backups. Head over to WD.com to check out their assortment. There's always sales on their external drive. So be sure to check that out. All right, when we return, we're going to talk with Pop-In. Stay with us. You are listening to Tech It Out on the Radio American Network. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. We'll be right back.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome, everyone. You are listening to Tech It Out, brought to you by ASUS, creating technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. ASUS, for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. Staying connected with others has never been more important for obvious reasons. And what if you can make new friends and be entertained at the same time? Well, an app called Pop-In aims to do just that. Joining us to chat about Pop-In, which is pop.in, and that's the website too, we've got with us Alex Kruglov. He's CEO and co-founder at the company. Hi, Alex. Good to chat with you.
Nice to chat with you. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, we spoke on the phone a few weeks ago. You gave me sort of a high-level walkthrough of the Pop-In app, and I was really intrigued, so I'm glad to have you on the program. So why don't we jump right in? What is Pop-In all about? Again, for our listeners, it's pop.in if you want to type that into your web browser.
Absolutely. Pop-In, simply put, is a place to make new friends and then spend high quality time with them. It's essentially a portal into an alternate reality where you can have positive, welcoming, kind experiences online with other humans. The way we do that is by holding events on a multiple times per day basis where people get together. And the trick and the mechanism by which people spend quality time together, even though they're strangers to begin with, is by playing games. So Pop-In is a place where there are multiple games that are played by folks as groups. We match them up. They get together in a group, they say hello to each other, and they start playing. And the game is a lot of fun, but it's also an icebreaker and an easy way to get to know others without the awkwardness of a traditional video chat.
All right. So Pop-In is both a video chatting platform and a casual gaming app as well. Is that fair? So you're playing casual games like a card game. Maybe we'll get into that in a moment. But at the same time, you see who you're chatting with, and it's not designed necessarily for friends. These are strangers who you are connecting with to hang out online.
That's right. They start out as strangers, but very quickly you kind of realize that you're making new friends, and sometimes you develop very, very dear, warm relationships with them. It is exactly that. It's a combination of a video chat app and a casual game app. And the games to us really are a mechanism for better, higher quality togetherness amongst people. And especially among strangers, that's a difficult problem to solve. There are plenty of chat rooms, there are plenty of video chat experiences, audio chat experiences, but it's very difficult to get people together and to sort of get them to jump in with each other and have a high quality experience. And we have found that group games, specifically synchronous games that people play together in groups of 4 or more, are a really magical way to break the ice and to ease them into these experiences where, without necessarily having to say much, a few minutes in, all of a sudden people know each other's pets' names and their favorite coffee shop.
And let's say you really get along with one or more of the folks that you're chatting with and playing games with online through the Pop-in platform. What if you want to connect with them again in the future? Is it always randomized who you're chatting with, or can you actually set up something within the app?
It's not. It's absolutely it has elements of a traditional social networking platform in that you can create friendships, virtual friendships with each other. And so we have 2 core modes. So I referred earlier to our mode of daily events where large groups of people get together, they get paired up and they start playing with each other. But we also have the more traditional social mode where you, Mark, can go into the app anytime and then ping your friends to say, hey, I'm over here, come play with me. And you may end up playing with new people that you haven't met before, but you can also play with a group that are either your friends from wherever you live, or friends that you've made on the app that you are now coming back and playing with all the time. And that's what we're finding. We're finding that people are making long-lasting, close friendships that last months. And we've seen multiple vacations that people who have met on Pop-in have taken together, especially in this world where restrictions are starting to ease up a little bit.
Wow. That's pretty neat. All right. So it can be open or closed. It's up to you. And then the games that you play, I think you also have a choice of. So could you talk to us about what kind of games you're playing, how many are on the Pop-in app, and what your expansion plans are like into next year?
Absolutely. Right now, live on the app, there are 4 core games. Those games, 3 of them are very familiar to you. Or to most people. Spades and Hearts are card games that you play in groups of 4. We have a game called Liar's Dice, which some people who've seen the movie Pirates of the Caribbean might be familiar with. It's kind of like a poor man's poker, played with a set of dice that are rolled in each round. And then we have a game that we call Pop Quiz. POP.quiz, just to sort of riff off of our name. Yeah. And that is kind of 3 games in one. It's got a more familiar trivia game that's part of it. And then we have 2 other modes. One is called Majority Rules, which is kind of similar to what kids are used to with Kahoot, where people are kind of voting in real time, and whatever the majority votes for is the right answer. There's a mode called Spotlight, where somebody's in the hot seat, they answer the question, and whatever they say is the right answer. So these are kind of like modern twists of the traditional multiple choice trivia mode.
Got it.
And then to answer your question about our roadmap, we intend to release a new game every month or so, potentially even more frequently. And we'll be getting into multiple categories, ranging from crossword puzzles and jigsaw puzzles to very, very silly, simple games where, you're popping bubbles and stuff like that. The goal is to constantly invest in games that bring joy to people and that people enjoy together in groups.
We'll continue learning about Pop-In, a game that I'll host this Wednesday, January the 19th, when we return with Alex. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Check It Out whenever you want.
We are chatting with Alex Kruglov. He is CEO and co-founder of Pop-In. We're learning about this app, this platform for togetherness, for chatting over video, as well as playing some casual games. That's pop.in. And speaking of the games, Alex, I understand there may be some competitions with prizing. Can you talk to us a bit about that?
Yes. Every time we have events, there are prizes that go to winners. So generally, there's a pool of our in-app currency called KIN. That's also a cryptocurrency that can be used in other apps. And the top 1, 2, and 3 receive a meaningful share of the prizes, but everybody who plays gets a small amount, gets a small prize. And the more people play, the bigger the prize pool.
All right. So this is in-app currency that you can redeem for something.
Yeah, we're going to be introducing multiple different things that you can redeem within the app. Some of them are digital, which is traditional to casual games, but some of them will actually be physical items.
Now, this does, at a high level, seem similar to the app House Party, which is no longer around. Is that fair? And is this just a tough business model?
House Party is a great app, and we definitely have a lot of admiration for Ben Rubin and the team that put it together. They have sold to Epic Games, and I think it'll be coming back in a different iteration. Mm-hmm. So the reason House Party was shut down was not because of the business model, is because Epic Games has various other priorities. You know, they make Fortnite and a variety of other games. The thing that House Party and Pop-In share is this obsession with togetherness. But House Party was really focused on existing friends and family, whereas Pop-In is focused really on making new friends. Mm-hmm. So there are similarities, but they're also quite different in terms of conceit.
We've been calling Pop-In an app, but can you play on a website as well?
You cannot today, but it's on our roadmap to create a web experience. The reason that we have held back on a web experience is because it's very difficult to ensure togetherness when people are switching between browsers and they're on their computer, whereas on the phone, it's much easier to kind of make sure that a person who appears to be there is actually there. Mm-hmm. But we will at some point next calendar year roll out a web version.
Okay.
We just have to get it right.
Got it. And you touched on something earlier, Alex, about not seeing anything inappropriate or anything like that. How do you manage that kind of thing?
It's very interesting. We have many tools for users to report each other, to block each other, to kick users out of experiences, as well as some machine learning tools to make sure that certain actions trigger camera to turn off and things like that. But by far, the biggest and most important tool in our ecosystem is the fact that you're playing in a group rather than in a one-on-one basis. So in an environment where there is a spotlight shown on you and where there's multiple others, people tend to very quickly moderate how they behave because of group pressure. Mm-hmm. So the biggest driver is really the group experience and the group ecosystem. And as we've grown, we're seeing that it's really holding up, although it's a very high priority for us to make sure that it remains a kind and a positive environment. And so we always want to stay ahead and make sure that that continues.
Mm-hmm. All right. Before we wrap up, Alex, how much does Pop-In cost? And if it's free, how do you monetize it?
It's absolutely free to play. We monetize primarily through this cryptocurrency that we use called KIN. And the business model behind it is something called the KIN reward engine. Over time, we are never intending to charge for the app, but we may introduce some premium features where people will be able to join a membership and participate in some of those premium features. But the app will always be free for general users.
All right. So you just do a search at the Apple App Store or Google Play for Pop-In, which is pop.in.
Or just go to the website. Pop-In is not just our name, it's also our website. So if you go to pop.in, you'll see very prominent links for how to download on either iOS or Android.
Okay. So don't do it on a computer. Do it on a phone or a tablet. pop.in, or again, you can go right to the App Store if you prefer. Alex, great to chat with you. Congrats on the launch of Pop-In. It sounds really fun. I can't wait to try it for myself.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
In fact, I will be hosting the Pop-In game this coming Wednesday, January the 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific. They graciously asked me to host the event. I'm going to not only play with everybody in video chat, but answer your tech questions as well. It's kind of like a bit of an AMA. I don't know if you're a Reddit user, but AMA is Ask Me Anything. So you can ask me about what it's like to review gadgets for a living, hosting Tech It Out, writing for USA Today, appearing on GMA and CNN and all that. So love to answer your questions and have a lot of fun with you. So please say hi and join on Pop-In this Wednesday, the 19th of January at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific, and I'll be hosting the game. So have a good one, everyone. Stay healthy, and I look forward to catching up with you next weekend for another episode of Tech It Out on the Radio America Network. Be well. Ciao.